everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm not in the garden today because there's too many plums to deal with. Look at this lot. Let me show you these plums. These are the plums that I've been picking off the garden this morning, and if you can see that they're not all red, but they're soft. So they're ripe, but they're not all of them are going red. These are Victoria plums, and for baking jam it's probably better to use a different variety more suited to jam. These are eating plum, but you can still make jam with them, but they don't have much pectin in, so we need to put our own pectin in. You can either put other fruit in that's got pectin, like blackberries, gooseberries, red currants in with it, but if you just want pure plum jam, you're mostly going to have to put some pectin in if you're using Victoria plums. So let's get started making some jam. We need sugar and pectin, a pan, just depending how much jam you're going to make, scales so we can weigh the plums, so we know how much sugar to put in. So as we go along, I'll put up the weights and measures of everything that I'm doing on the screen for you, and the recipe will be in this description below. So let's get started. So there we are, we've got all the plums done. I now want 4.5 cups of sugar. So we will measure 4.5 cups. Oops, that's a bit. There we are. That's about 4.5 cups of sugar. I'm going to put a sachet of pectin in. I'm going to put my plums into the pan now and slowly let them stew down, and then I will add the sugar before I bring them to the boil. So I've got my pan on the hob. At the minute it's just got some water in it. I'm just going to boil a bit of water and sterilise it out, even though it is a clean pan, and the rest of my jars are stood in boiling water. Right, fruit is in the pan. I've got it on the lowest setting that my gas hob will go to, so just nice and steady, slowly stew it down. Now this takes quite a while for these plums to stew down, so I'll be back later on when it's all nice and soft and squeaky. It's starting to stew down, look, and at this stage I am going to put a bit of cinnamon into it. I'm only going to put a little bit, so probably a teaspoonful of cinnamon, just to give it a little bit of a flavouring. There we are, teaspoonful of cinnamon. Might add a bit more to taste later on, but I don't want to overdo it. So now we're going to put the sugar in. Now it's all stewed down, so let's add the sugar slowly. Let it dissolve before I put the next one in. So if you remember, it was 4.5 cups, so that's what I'm going to put in. very slowly. I won't bore you with putting the 4 cups in because my lens has steamed up already. So now we're going to keep stirring till all the sugar has dissolved and I don't steam up. There's still the odd bit that's not completely broke down, but that will finally break down them chunks when we start boiling it. So once I'm sure the sugar is dissolved, I'm going to bring it up to the boil. Now is the time to have a little taste before it gets up to the boil to make sure you've got it sweet enough. Right, this is the pectin I've put in this cup. It's packeted pectin, and 1 packet is for 1 kilogram of sugar. Well, I used nearly 1 kilogram of sugar, so I've put the whole packet in here. So you need to read the instructions on your pectin packet, so you know what proportion to put in. So now I'm going to sprinkle the pectin in. It's mixed in with a bit of sugar as well. So that's all mixed in, and now we'll be, once that dissolved, it'll be able to switch it up and come to the boil. Now I've tasted it and it was a little bit tart for the amount of sugar that the recipe states. It all depends on your plums, so there's no hard and fast rule for following a recipe with fruit that may not be ever so sweet. So you've just got to have a little taste and judge it. So just because it says put 4 cups in, if you taste it and it's very tart and you want it sweeter, put more sugar in. You've got to be flexible with these things, otherwise you'll be disappointed at the end result. If you don't taste things as you go along when you're cooking, you get a shock at the end. So right, switching up now for a boil. We're starting to boil, you can see around the edges. And once we get a boil, we turn it down so it simmers. It needs to be a rolling boil. You can see how it's coming in from the sides. And now we're going to set the timer for about 10 minutes. Boil this for about 10 minutes. If you've got a thermometer, you can do it to a temperature. I'll put the temperature on the screen now so you can see it. And then once we've boiled it like this for a little while, we'll turn it down and simmer it for about 10 minutes or until it passes the jam test. The sign it is getting ready is when you pick your spoon out, quite often it goes thick on your spoon or on the sides, but you can use a plate, a cold plate, and put some in on a cold plate, put it in the fridge and do the wrinkle test. You can tell it's nearly ready. It's starting to kind of look like jam around the sides and it's thickening up, look. So nearly done, nearly ready for the test. I'm going to taste it. Very nice. Little tart, not too tart, not too sweet. I did taste it before I boiled it to make sure there was enough sugar in it. enough cinnamon in it, and I never added no more cinnamon. Just that teaspoonful of cinnamon was just right. So let's get on and put this nice jam in some jars. So I need to leave a little bit at the top. I have got some wax circles coming. I haven't got any at the minute, so I'm going to leave it at about there, and I'm going to put the lid on. So now I'm going to stick the lid on, and when the discs come, I'll put the discs on. Well, this is the first half of the jam. I've just got the rest to jar up, so it's going to make somewhere, I think I've just got one, but I haven't got the lid on yet, so it's going to make somewhere around about 7 or 8 jars about this size by the time I've finished. So there's going to be a lot more jam making, because that tree is producing at least 1 to 1.5 baskets a day of plums. So thanks for watching my jam making session today.